All right, welcome back. We're going to have one more example just in case you need it. We'll call this one a challenge problem. It's a little bit more complicated than a few of the examples we've already seen, but I just wanted to show you the maximum complexity that we can really do at this point, so you're not going to be intimidated by anything you see that's going to be less than this, okay? So, and just remember, no matter how many things you have on there, if you follow the system, you can put them all together and it won't be as daunting, all right? So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is pause the video and draw the molecule. So you want to draw this molecule here, and that's going to be what we're looking at. Okay, so hopefully you've done that. You can unpause. And then the first thing we're going to do is find the longest chain, all right? So the longest chain should be C8. I kind of ruined it for you there. Sorry about that. So go ahead and pause the video and count and see if you can find 8 carbons. Okay, so hopefully you found it. If you look, first of all, we go this way. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. That's only 7. So we know we must have to do something else. So another way we can get a carbon chain is to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's an 8 option. The other way we can do it is to go from this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's a couple different ways we can go. All right, but definitely C8 is the longest. Because C8 is the longest, I'm going to go ahead and write that prefix name is hex, right? And then we're going to put ane, so hexane. Okay, so now let's make sure we know which one's the longest chain. So let's check out what we've got. So like we said, we have 2 ways that we can get 8. One way is to go through this way, and then one way is to go through this way. Now, how are we going to decide if it's a tie? Well, as I told you, the IUPAC people, when they decided to make sure there was a rule for every tie. So the rule that they made was they said, if there's a tie for the longest carbon chain, so I'll put carbon chain here, carbon chain, then you're going to pick the one that has the most substituents, all right, the most stuff sticking off of it. So if I look at that, this obviously has a difference, right? If I go this way, I've got this big group sticking off, and both of them have a methyl, right? If I go this way, then there's nothing sticking off on this part, right? This is at the crossfires. That has both. We're not worried about that. So the difference is one extra substituent this way versus this way. So we're going to pick this side. The other way I think of it is if I have a tie and I had to make this the longest chain, how would I name this thing? If it's too complicated, that means you're not going to be able to name it. So that's probably not the direction I meant for you to go. So you should double check if you think that's the problem. All right. So this is going to be our main chain through here and then all the way over here. So let's go ahead and circle our other stuff. So I know we have 2 functional groups. So go ahead and pause the video and find the functional groups and the substituents. Okay, so hopefully you found this is one functional group and this is the other functional group, right? So then we have substituents, different color. So where's the substituent? So I've got this one, I've got this one, I've got this one because it's not part of the main chain. There's one more, do you see it? Right, there's some carbons on the nitrogen, on that functional group. So we'll circle those. All right, so now let's name these things. So all the alkyl ones might be the easiest, so maybe I'll name those first. So this one's got 1 carbon, so that's going to be methyl, right? Methyl. This one's got 3 carbons, not 2. So that's going to be, sorry, propyl. And this one's got 2 carbons, so that's going to be ethyl. Now the one with the oxygen, remember we just did that, so that's going to be an oxy kind of situation. So what's the group we have on here? That's an isopropyl, right? So we'll write isoprop. And then instead of YL, we had oxy because there's an oxygen on there. Okay? And then that's all our substituents. So then the next thing we want to do is our functional groups. So we have the top one here. Sorry, it's a little crowded. That's going to be an alkene. So that's going to be what ending? Ene, right? Perfect. All right. And then what about this guy? That's going to be an amine. So an amine and an ene, and then the other substituents. Okay. So what's the next step? Right, we got to do the numbering. So when we do the numbering, remember we want to look for what's the highest priority. The highest, sorry, priority here. So do we have a priority functional group? Yes, right? So the highest priority functional group would be an amine, right? Because if you look on the list, this is the list. Amines are above alkenes, and then those are above all the other ones that are typed. Okay, so I've got an amine, so that's going to be my highest priority. So let's see which way we can name that. So if we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's going to be at the 5. If I go the other way, I get 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to put that in a better color though. It's hard to see. Do red. Sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. So the one that gives the amine the lowest number is going to be 4. So that's the one we're going to pick. Okay. If there's a difference, then pick that one. If there was a tie, then you could go on to see what the ene has, but we don't need that. All right. So we've got the number system. So we're going to use the red system because that's the one that gives the amine the lowest number. Okay. So that means we're going to have, for isopropoxy, we have 2. For the ene, we're going to have a 5. For the methyl, we're going to have a 7. For the ethyl, we'll do that one last. So for the propyl, we're going to have a 5. No, a 4 because we're using the reds. Sorry. So it should be the same, right? Because these are on the same carbon. We should have a 4 here and a 4 here. Okay. And then what about that ethyl? What do we put for that one? Right. It's on the nitrogen. So we're going to put an N. Let's just review those amine rules. We did those in class. There's some of the examples here. So anytime you have a locant that's on the nitrogen, you put an N. Okay. All right. So now I've got all the pieces. So pause the video and see if you can put it all together. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do the substituents, right, in alphabetical order. So we've got an I, an M, a P, and an E. So the first one will be E. Then the next one's going to be I, so 2-isopropoxy. And then the next one's going to be M, 7-methyl. Oops, I forgot the dash. And then we have, what's the next one? Propyl. Okay, so that's all the substituents. 1, 2, 3, 4. Got it. All right, so now next is longest chain. So we're going to have hexane. But then remember, we're also going to have to change this. So if we're going to have an ene, we're going to have to cross out that ane. And we're going to put like an ene. But then whenever we put the ene and put the amine on the end, we're going to have to cross out the e to add the amine. So really all we're going to have left over from the name of the chain is the hex. No, not hex. What? Oh my gosh, it's 8. Good grief, this whole time. So what is C8? Not hexane. Octane, right? So now we'll take out the ane and add the ene, and then we'll add the amine. So it'll be oct. Sorry about that. Good grief. All right, so oct, and then the next one's going to be the endings. So for the endings, which ending do we put last? The amine, right? Because that's the priority. So we got to put the ene first, and then we'll put the amine. So it's going to be 5, oops, 5 ene, but take out the e. And then the last one's 4 amine. All right, so let's make sure we have all of our pieces. So we have 4 substituents, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's this 1, 2, 3, 4. Every single one has a number or a locant. That's a locant. Then we have our main chain, which is C8, which is oct, not what I put the first time. Right? Then we're going to put the endings. So we have an amine and an ene. So we have 5 ene, 4 amine. All right, great. So hopefully you got that. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks. Bye.